Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate you. It's 8 minutes after 4 o'clock on Super Talk. We've got lots to get into. Obviously, we are monitoring the Department of Justice, by the way, is indicting Letitia James today, apparently. The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, who went after Trump in a political and partisan way, and now we're seeing some of that come back on her, and now apparently it's not as good as it used to be. These political persecutions and prosecutions, when the shoe was on the other foot, they don't like them so much, and so now all of these mainstream media networks are ABC, NBC, CBS, #NeverCNN. They're all upset. They're this political persecution. Like, where the hell were all of you people when Letitia James was doing the same thing to Donald Trump? Where were you when that schmucko down in Florida was doing the same thing to Trump and treating those cases completely different than the one with Joe Biden? They found the same type of material at Joe Biden's house, in his damn garage, in his office, and at an office at Penn Station. Nobody said it. I mean, oh, well, it was an honest mistake. Honest mistakes were made. Oh, well, all is well and good. Then it happens to Trump and you prosecute him in a political fashion. Clearly, we understood what you were doing in terms of lawfare. In the state of Georgia, clearly we understood what you were trying to do. With Letitia James, we know what you're trying to do. We know what you were trying to do. You cobbled together this Frankenstein of a case against Donald Trump in an effort to do one thing. It wasn't about putting Trump in jail. It was about keeping Trump out of the White House, and you failed. You continue to fail. Well, I don't know a lot about the case, but I know this. The mainstream media is not going to be saying the same type of thing about Letitia James that they said about Donald Trump. I can promise you that. In the meantime, Jackson asked me a question during the break, and I think it merits an answer on air, because you were like, hey, do these folks all get the same type of talking points about the Republican nominee? Because they say very, very similar things. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but they're very
similar in their language.
Yes.
And we were talking, and this is not, and no one is, as I like to say, casting aspersions. We don't like to cast aspersions on this radio show. We wouldn't do that.
Except at each other.
Well, at you, I'll cast an aspersion or two.
And I'll cast one back.
And every once in a while, Ken will just throw an aspersion out there on the floor and see who picks it up. And then once in a while, I'm going to cast okay, we cast aspersions. Never mind, I take it back. We cast a lot of aspersions on this show. But this is not one of those times. We love Jack. I mean, yes. Jack's a great guy, so nobody's knocking him, but Jackson was like, hey, did these guys, and it was a legit question. You asked me if they kind of get a rundown of kind of how to respond. I do not believe that they do. I just think the answers are pretty rote. So the idea was, I asked him what he thought of Matt Van Epps, and give me your, hey, Jackson, what do you think of Matt Van Epps?
A staunch conservative and an ally to President Trump.
That was the thing, is like, that's what they say. That's what they all say. Well, we've had fun over the years with, it's not enough to be a conservative, Jackson.
You have to be staunch.
Yeah, well, I'll give you some others. Staunch, true conservative, lifelong conservative.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Lifelong conservative. I'm not new to this game, people. A Trump conservative. That's a pretty new one, too. Trump conservative. The real conservative in the race. Real conservative is better than just a conservative. You got to put a qualifier on there. Staunch, lifelong, real, true, an original conservative. Oh, yeah. These are very important things. I think, obviously, if you've been around the block long enough, you learn to say certain things about certain candidates. I just wonder if Jody Barrett supporters or Gino Bolso supporters, mostly Jody Barrett supporters, if they are going to come around to Matt Van Epps and if they're going to vote for him. And I don't understand, if they don't, why they wouldn't. I've not seen anything in my examination of Van Epps to suggest, he doesn't have a big record. The Tennessee Fauci thing, that is a hit piece that is misrepresenting Matt Van Epps' role as a data processor during that time. Matt Van Epps had no decision-making authority. And look, Matt Van Epps would tell you this if he were here, and he will. I'll ask him this question when he comes on the show. For those of you that bought into this Tennessee Fauci thing, I know exactly who came up with the Tennessee Fauci thing. It was a political operative that worked for one of the other candidates. And they were trying to, and I could name him, but I'm not going to. But he was trying to dig up dirt on all of the opposition. The same guy, let me tell you something. The same guy that came up, that found the liberal douchebag quote from Jody Barrett,
yes,
was the guy that came up with the Tennessee Fauci language. And it's not that Jody Barrett didn't call Donald Trump a liberal douchebag. He did. But, I mean, it's easily answerable because, you know, Jody, that was back in 2016. He supported somebody else, yada, yada, yada. He came around. He was proven wrong, all of that. On the Tennessee Fauci thing, like they were calling Matt Van Epps Tennessee Fauci because Matt Van Epps was processing data during COVID and was not in a decision-making capacity during that time. So he made no decisions about shutdowns. He made no decisions about vaccines. He made no decisions about mandates and is against mandates. He was just crunching the numbers and getting the numbers to the people that needed the numbers. But, I mean, y'all can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to tote the water for Matt Van Epps. I'm here to say this, that if we get Afton Bain and not Matt Van Epps in Congress, there's going to be hell to pay. Matt Van Epps is at very least a rational human being when it comes to America's government and the Constitution of the United States of America. Afton Bain is a socialist. And I say that as someone who has had her on the show and would have her back on the show. I'm not afraid of socialism. I'm not afraid of socialists. I'm telling you, it's no way to run a government because you are going to feel it from an individual freedom standpoint and from a wallet standpoint if people like that, the cutest little communist in Tennessee, get to Washington, D.C. But I do wonder, and maybe it's a little too early, I do wonder if the supporters of Jody Barrett, who came out and gave Jody 1/4 of the vote, which is substantial in an 11-person race as well. I mean, these two ran away with it. 2 candidates out of 11 got over 75% of the vote. One got over 50% and one got over 25%. I think those were the final tally. That was the final tally. Well, the Jody Barrett people are going to need to support Matt Van Epps. Otherwise, you're going to get Afton Bain. And for those of you saying, oh, it's the same thing, there's no difference between Van Epps and Bain, this is my response. This is my official response to you. Stop being stupid. You're being stupid. And I don't say that word lightly. If you honestly believe that there's no difference in policy, ideology, or politics between Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain, I would beg of you to stop voting. Because you're just wrong. You're just wrong. And I love you, and I appreciate you, and I think you have the political sense of my dog, Mrs. Beasley. I'm not trying to hurt you when you're down. I'm just being, I have to be straight with y'all, right? You expect it of me. Rick is next. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Matt, thanks. I'm not arguing with you. Yesterday you had said you thought most people had already decided before vote day who they were going to vote for. And I had also, till Trump come out with his endorsement, I was going to vote for Jody Barrett because John Rich endorsed him. And I trust John's judgment, but once Trump endorsed Mr. Epps, I went and I voted for him on that day. And I think a lot of people went over, and that's what made him get over 50% of the vote.
No, I do. I don't know if you heard me yesterday. No, I agree with you completely, Rick. The day before, well, I guess voting day, this was Tuesday, I did say it, and I was wrong. I said, I think people have already decided. What you said is correct. I said it on Tuesday. I was like, I think people have already decided. I think it's a little too late. The Trump endorsement didn't matter. But I looked at those totals, and then I looked at the amount of votes that Van Epps got by percentage in early voting and the amount of votes that he got on Election Day, and you are a great example of it, Rick. I said I was wrong. Trump's endorsement mattered. It mattered.
Well, but I would have voted for Jody Barrett if he'd have won, even though I switched over and voted for Epps. So, I hope everybody just supports the person that would be the best, which would be Epps versus the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I think most will. There will be some holdouts that claim that, he's a rhino and he's this and that and the other thing. I trust the discernment of Donald Trump. I know that he didn't know him very well prior to this election cycle. I just know this, that, I said that I tried to remain Switzerland on this, and I was like you, Rick. I felt like Jody Barrett would make a fine congressman. I think Jody Barrett has great political sense. And I've disagreed with the guy on a number of things that he's done in the General Assembly. But we can disagree and still like one another and appreciate one another's values. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Well, look,
and John Rich's endorsement, I think John Rich is a good red-blooded American that loves his country.
Yes, sir.
And I trusted that was what I was going with till Trump did come out and say, I'd rather have this guy.
No, I trust John too, and John's been on the show many times. I consider him a friend. I think he's got great political sense, and I love the fact, and thank you, Rick, for the call. Here's what I'll tell you. I absolutely love that John Rich has led the charge in terms of entertainment figures, country music stars, and other entertainers. We had Taylor Hicks on earlier in the week, and Taylor's unafraid of saying that he's a Republican, unafraid of taking that on and speaking his mind. For a long time before John Rich came along, entertainers, even in this town, were afraid to do that. And more, you see the Kid Rocks of the world and the Taylor Hicks of the world and the John Riches of the world, and there are other, Jason Aldean. They're willing to step out. John Rich was one of the first that risked a lot in his professional career to be willing to speak his mind about what he believes in when it comes to the United States of America. And I have such a great appreciation for that. I have nothing but love for John Rich. I also know that John has known Jody for a long, long time, and they've been good friends for a long time. I think they grew up together out Dixon Way. And so I have a great respect for that. And I believe, I don't want to speak for him, but I believe that John Rich would tell you that while he's frustrated his man didn't win, and I don't blame him for that, and he believes Jody would have done a great job, I think John would tell you the same, that at some point you coalesce around the individual that makes the most sense in the general election. And, maybe this is not the time to speak that, but, we'll have plenty of time. We'll have plenty of time between now and December 2nd. I just don't believe, and one of the reasons that I get so frustrated with primary politics is you get a lot of good people in the room together, like a Lee Reeves or a Jody Barrett or a Gino Bolso and, of course, Matt Van Epps and Stuart Parks and Mason Foley. You get all these people in a room together, and some of these political consultants come along and say, oh, well, we have to call this guy a douchebag, or we have to call that guy a liberal, or we have to call that guy a rhino, or we have to call this guy. And you don't. You don't. They're not bad people. They're not evil people. They're good people. And for the most part, conservative people. Look, whatever concerns that we, the people in the 7th Congressional District, have about Matt Van Epps, we need to work those concerns out. Because let me assure you, sending a congressperson to Washington, D.C. that's going to coalesce behind and caucus with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries, these are crazy people. These are people that do not believe in our system of government. They believe in socialism. And we best rally around the candidate that doesn't, regardless of whatever failures you might think they have otherwise. 615-737-9986. A shutdown continues. It is a Democrat shutdown. Make no mistake about it. Plus, the latest on the possibility of a peace deal, and not just a ceasefire, but a cessation of hostilities in the Middle East. What great news. What a wonderful piece of news. And what a wonderful president we have to thank for it, Donald J. Trump. More on that in a moment on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Put your headphones on there, Murphy. Hey, there you go. I can hear now. Hi. How's everybody doing?
Hi.
You doing all right there, Jackson?
Doing all right.
Making it?
Making it.
One day before the last day that you have to work that split, buddy. And then it's the weekend, and you don't do anything on the weekends.
I will be here Sunday.
Who's the Raiders? I've asked you this question. The Raiders, is that who Tennessee's taking on?
Titans, yes.
Yeah, the Titans are taking on the
Tennessee takes on Arkansas on Neyland Stadium Saturday, 2:30 kickoff.
My apologies. I'm sorry. You Tennessee Volunteer fans get all bent out of shape when you refer to Tennessee, and you're not talking about the Volunteers, you're talking about the Titans.
There is a Tennessee, and there are the Tennessee Titans. Two different things.
Yes, sir.
One wears orange and white, one wears blue and white.
Yes, sir. You are the resident sports expert on this radio show, and let no one forget it. By the way, we picking movies this weekend, too?
I guess we will.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, we haven't really come up with a good name for it yet. Do you have the Hooray for Hollywood on the board yet? Jackson, what do you do every day? I mean, what do you do every day?
I get here at 5.
This is a bad week. Ken, remind me to go lash Jackson with a wet noodle next week when he's not working in the mornings. Hard to do when you're working in the mornings. All right, look for a way to find your girl. I'm assuming that's Afton Bain, to challenge Ogles in the 5th, should she thankfully not succeed in winning the 7th. Of course, also look for Ogles to go all out to get elected and replace our most useful and gutless Senator Mushy Blackburn. Some folks in this audience, I mean, I just, okay. Marsha Blackburn is going to, by my estimates, and I'm not knocking John Rose when I say this, she's going to destroy the competition in the gubernatorial election. I know there's a long way between now and then. I'm fascinated at those that hate her. Because outside of, I understand that some of you are very frustrated with some of the things that Marsha Blackburn said right in advance of January 6th. I would suggest to you that when people started bum rushing the Capitol on January 6th, that the circumstances changed considerably in terms of how to handle that day. But I'm not here to relitigate that. I'm just fascinated why Marsha Blackburn is considered in national circles as one of the more conservative senators on Capitol Hill, and yet many in our audience, you know, they call her a rhino, they say she's mushy and all of this, but every time that the state of Tennessee gets a chance to vote for her, they, like, almost 70% of them do. That's exactly right. Murphy Show Movie Mayhem, I think is what we were going with. I was trying to figure out a way to get your name in there too, Jackson, and I just can't figure it out. Murphy Movie Mayhem. It's got to be alliterative, you know? No? Nothing? Okay.
There's no J word in cinema.
Correct. There is a J in jackhole. Speaking of jackholes, look at, oh, wait, no, Mike, it's time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's trouble in the studio. Trouble in the studio this Thursday edition. Thank you for being here. It is October 9. We appreciate you. Episode 899. I have this guy to thank for some of those episodes, I suppose. His name is Scott Cepicky. He is Representative Scott Cepicky. He's stopping by our studio. Obviously, I'm going to ask him about the aftermath of the 7th. I want to ask him about I'm interested in what he thinks about the Republican candidate. I'm more interested in what he thinks about the Democrat candidate because he serves with her in the General Assembly and the House of Representatives. And we're also, obviously, Scott is our go-to guy when it comes to the state of Israel and the conflict going on over there locally here in our community. And we're all very, very hopeful that we have some peace that's about to happen in the Middle East. We welcome back to the studio Scott Cepicky. What's going on, man?
Man, you look You look well groomed today, man.
You know, Brian's Man Cave in Mount Juliet did a job on me. He does good work.
A miracle worker.
A little shorter than I wanted, but that's okay. That means I don't have to go back so soon.
You now have like a face for TV now.
Oh, jeez.
Are we going to be able to live with you? Ken Weaver, help me out here. Ken.
You bring your son in here and you say nice things. Gabriel, he never says these nice things about me when you're not here.
Well, they're hard to say nice about you when you look like Billy Goat Gruff sometimes when I walk in here.
Nice to see you too, Scott.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Good. You brought the I would call him the young man, but he's bigger than me and looks a hell of a lot stronger than both of us put together. I mean, come on.
Well, that's one of my two. This is Gabriel. He is my oldest. He's 20, and he plays football at the University of Memphis, and he's getting accustomed to the new Law and Order down in Memphis.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, I think the National Guard's coming in this week, tomorrow,
absolutely.
if I'm not mistaken.
I tell people all the time. They ask me what's going on. They played Tulsa, and we went down for the game to visit them. And I noticed on Sam Cooper Boulevard, if you're familiar with Memphis, you drive into Memphis on Sam Cooper Boulevard. It's about 7 miles long, and you could first of all, nobody drives the speed limit in Memphis. 0. Sam Cooper Boulevard is 55 miles an hour. Normally, you're driving 80. Everybody was driving 52. And there were troopers and policemen about every 100 feet, it seemed. And if you gave them a reason to pull you over, they pulled you over.
I'm dragging Gabriel into this conversation now. Are you living over there?
Yes, sir.
And have you seen any additional law enforcement around?
Yes, sir. It's pretty obvious.
Well, that's good, right? That's what we want, right?
That's what we want.
We want the visual.
They're doing a very good job. I think over 200 arrests have been made on people that are not good for the community. On top of the 500 that, remember, the Operation Viper has produced with the FBI and TBI. So we are taking a bite. We are taking a big bite out of crime right now in Memphis to take back Memphis for the people, to allow them for their children to be able to go out and play and people be able to go around without worrying about people driving by shooting at you.
Look, I think we've seen the Democrat response locally over there. They mewled and howled and, cried in their beer or whatever for a minute, but they understand that the law is on our side. The governor wanted this to happen. The president wanted it to happen, and it's perfectly authorized through the use of the National Guard and the governor's blessing. That's great.
They followed the process. And
I just don't get what they don't get about the optics of them standing their ground that they want more crime in their community, right? It's like the Democrats are standing up and saying, no, we want more crime in our communities.
Well, let me back up. Let's say the politicians are saying that.
Well, that's true, not the people. You're right. That's true.
The people that walk the streets, that drive the streets, that work in Memphis, that want the old Memphis back that I grew up with when I was in St. Louis going to play baseball games down in Memphis on weekends, where you could go to Graceland and walk around. You could go to Beale Street and walk around. You could walk around Memphis Sun Records and experience the cultural aspects of Memphis. Our goal in the General Assembly and with the governor and with the president, our goal is to get Memphis back to that ability to be able to do that again.
Are we seeing an uptick in crime in Nashville that might merit looking at Nashville in that way?
I think what we're doing and the way Governor Lee handled this, and obviously the speakers were involved too, to handle this and following the constitutional law and how to do this and how to bring the federal resources in. My gut feeling is we are creating a national blueprint here in Memphis on how to replicate and do it again. And I think that the people of Nashville deserve the same opportunities that hopefully Memphis is going to have. Be able to go to the park and not worry about people coming up and accosting you. Be able to go and walk the streets and go down on Broadway and not worry about people breaking into your cars. I think what people in this country, especially in Tennessee, is they want law and order. That's all we want. Follow the law. And if you follow the law, you don't have to worry about who's driving behind you, do you, Matt? You just
right.
Follow the law. And so I would suggest to people that are listening to this in Memphis that I would make sure you use your turn signals. I would make sure you come to a complete stop at a stop sign. I would make sure you will obey the speed limit. If not, you're going to get to meet some of our friendly people who are here to protect and serve you.
So I noted, and I've not had a chance to talk about this yet, that one of the local reps from over in Memphis that you serve with in the General Assembly, his response was to take on the lone Democrat serving the state of Tennessee in Congress. So Justin Pearson, you might be losing Justin Pearson to the United States Congress, Scott. How do you feel about that?
Wow. Well, heartbroken, I can tell you that much. Heartbroken.
Maybe Steve Cohen can just trade with him and come and serve.
That's a trade up for me. I could take that because I could deal with someone eating fried chicken in committee.
Sure.
It is, Representative Pearson. He has his own agenda on what he's trying to do in life. Some of us are up here to serve the people instead of serve themselves for clicks and all that kind of follows on Facebook. I listened to his speech. I can tell you this. I took a lot of offense to what he said about an education in Memphis, that we don't give them enough money. $1.2 billion a year of our budget in education. $1.2 billion goes to Memphis. Matt, we spend $12 billion for a whole state. $1.2 billion goes to Memphis. I think we're spending enough money in Memphis to get kids educated. I think it's more like the people need to decide to get kids educated. And what we're seeing right now is the people of Memphis are starting to hold their politicians accountable, which is who I answer to. I answer to the people.
If you had to put a betting line on Pearson versus Cohen, I mean, I think Pearson's going to destroy it. I mean, and I don't think you can get worse than Cohen, honestly. I don't think Cohen has done anything for his district.
Right.
I think that his lack of leadership has led to some of what we're talking about over there.
Yes.
And, I mean, I don't really have a dog in the fight. They're both Democrats. I mean, one of them is more – I mean, I don't know that I would call Cohen a socialist, but Pearson most certainly is.
Yes.
So, if we can dispatch him from the General Assembly, maybe that's a good thing for you guys.
Well, I think what it does is it de-escalates a lot of the rhetoric that we see on the House floor, calling us white nationalists and things like that. And we can get back to more common sense discussions in Tennessee on how we're going to affect the lives of Tennesseans. And you kind of acquiesced or segued to it about Afton Bain. I work with Representative Bain. She is Ocasio-Cortez. She wants to be Ocasio-Cortez. She has no intention of representing anybody here in the Congressional 7th. It's about her own advancement. I don't mind saying that because I've worked with her. I can see it, right? But I will tell you this. It's a weird election cycle for the 7th. Everybody's going to be focused on Christmas.
Week after Thanksgiving.
You have got to get out. As you're Republicans in the 7th, buddy, you better get out there and vote for Matt Van Epps. Is he the perfect candidate for you? I don't know. Time will tell. He doesn't have a voting record. But when he goes to Congress, he's going to have a voting record. And we need to make sure that we send a Republican there, because if you send Afton Bain up there, you're getting Ocasio-Cortez and Chuck Schumer and fill in the blank light. And we need to be careful with that. So please get out. Put this election, this primary past you. Coalesce behind a Republican, because even if, and I don't know this for fact, but even if he is a rhino, he's 1,000 times better than what Afton Bain's going to be for you.
Yeah, and I don't believe he is. I don't necessarily believe he is either. But I mean, could be. But even if you would call him that, like you say, he's not caucusing. He's caucusing with the Republicans. He's working with the Republicans as opposed to working with the Democrats. So 48 after the hour, I'm getting a lot of questions coming in on the super text line for Gabriel.
Oh no!
I'm not even kidding. Question number 1 comes from John in Lawrenceburg. Matt, will you please ask Gabriel if he has any pointers on beating these Hogs this weekend? I guess Memphis has already taken care of the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Tennessee faithful have decided that they need some pointers from the Memphis guys about how best to beat those guys. You got any pointers for them, Gabriel?
Just trust your scheme and work your tail off. I mean, that's all it can do. It doesn't matter how big an SEC school is. It just who comes down to work harder, and I guess Pittman did not.
That's pretty good victory for you guys, man. Enough. That's a pretty good win for you guys.
It was impressive.
Nice. Were you there in person?
Of course I was. One can argue who's playing the best football in Tennessee. Could be in Memphis.
Well, my name's Bennett.
Undefeated, buddy.
I ain't getting in it.
Hey, they're probably playing better in Georgia.
Well, I mean,
they haven't lost yet.
Georgia
has lost?
Georgia has lost to the University of Alabama.
Yes. They got beat by Florida State.
They did. They got beat by the Florida State Seminoles.
And Memphis beat Florida State. That means Memphis could beat Georgia and Alabama.
That is, your logic is just, I mean, it's this type of logic that's taken you so far in the General Assembly, Cepicky. This is, I mean, it's undeniable logic. love is blind, God is love, Ray Charles is blind, Ray Charles is God. It makes perfect sense to me.
Well, now you said that. I didn't say that.
That's just the same type of linear
And then we'll
logic.
segue to Israel after this.
We will segue to Israel right after our break. It's 10 until the top of the hour. Scott Cepicky is here to talk about this possible peace deal and what it could mean in the Middle East and whether or not Donald Trump can accomplish this. And obviously, if he does, I mean, it's just it's an incredible moment in American and world history. It's 10 until the top of the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Jackson, we're so close to the top. We're not going to get into Israel right now. We'll get into the Israel after the top of the hour, if that's okay with you. But, Jackson, we were just discussing this in here, and as the only UT fan in my eye shot.
What are you about to do to me?
No. So we were just talking about this. So Memphis, hey, Ken?
Yes, sir.
You know how many losses Memphis has?
0.
6-0, first bowl-eligible team in the country.
6-0, as Scott Cepicky just said, first bowl-eligible team in the country.
Got a good shot at the playoff.
So they do. So they could be the, G5 selection, right? Mm-hmm. And what would happen? How would this state turn up on its side if Memphis made it to the playoffs and Tennessee didn't? Would you root for Memphis at that point, Jackson?
It'd be like the Republican election, right? The primary, right? Got to coalesce behind your team.
You got to gather. If that were to happen, we got to call all good Tennesseans to come to the aid of the Memphis Tigers.
You know what? Sure, as long as it's not basketball.
All right.
There's a rivalry in basketball. Tennessee and Memphis have a big rivalry in basketball.
I think we can take that, right? You can accept that as an agreement.
And we could have, if it happens, we could have Gabriel call in from the college football playoff and talk with Jackson and you guys on the air.
You can talk sports.
You'd let me?
Yeah.
I'm down.
If Tennessee does not make the playoffs and Memphis does, or better yet, if Memphis makes the playoffs and they're seeded against Tennessee.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be fun.
You wouldn't have to talk news. You could just talk sports the whole week.
All week long, buddy. If that game's happening on a Saturday, that's exactly right.
Because, Georgia might be out by then, too. And then
sure. We suck. We're awful. We're horrible.
Lose to Alabama.
Good gracious.
Should have lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, Kirby Smart in 10 years has lost 20 games, and 7 of them have been to Bama. It's awful.
Fire him.
Fire him. We ought to.
Get rid of him.
Get rid of him.
Get rid of him.
He's a putz.
Get rid of someone else.
Speaking of a putz, here's Mike in Old Hickory for about a minute. Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
I'm okay, Mike. How are you?
Are you happy today that we finally have maybe a peace deal?
Well, we're fingers crossed, brother. Fingers crossed. We're about to talk to Cepicky about some of the finer details in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at least we're going the right direction. But as a libertarian, you're probably against what Trump did to bring it to this point. You probably would have voted against the attack on Iran and then Israel wiping out Hamas on the Gaza Strip. So if that didn't happen, you would probably be happy. But it did happen, and now we're having a peace deal.
Mike, when you're done telling me how I think about all of this, I'll begin telling you how wrong you are. Okay?
Oh, well, thank you, libertarian. Thank you, anti-American libertarian.
Are you mad because I called you a putz?
I don't call you a name.
I know. Well, I didn't really call you a putz. I just alluded to your putzery.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. Well, Mike.